Wednesday morning, means it's Blue Plate Special Day, and today I am going to make a soup, and this is completely my own idea, so I'll take all the blame if things don't work out as planned. I'm calling it a creamy chicken vegetable soup, alright? And in that soup we're going to have 2 cups of peas and carrots diced. That comes in a package, so let's split them up. That'd be probably 1 cup of each. But okay, let's move on here. 1 cup of corn, 1 cup of celery, 1 cup of broccoli, 1.5 cups of onions, and okay, I hope I mentioned 1 cup of celery if I missed it. But I have to go back to yesterday before we proceed with today's recipe. My daughter brought home a rotisserie chicken, and she took about 3 slices or 4 slices off of it to make a sandwich for lunch, hot chicken sandwich for lunch. And she said, "Hey Dad, you can have the rest." So I took off a couple of slices and had some for supper, and that left the legs and quite a bit of breast meat and everything else. And this was a smaller chicken, so I said, well, what am I going to do with that? And I says, well, I'm going to render it down. So that's what I did yesterday. I broke the chicken up as much as I could, added just enough water to cover the chicken, and cooked it till the meat was falling off the bone. And after that, what I did was I took a colander, set it over a pot so I could catch the liquid, poured the whole works out into the colander, and that was drained into the pot, and let the meat cool off. After the meat cooled off, I kind of broke it up and let it cool and put it in the fridge for the night. That left me with 4 cups or 1 quart, I believe it is, of stock. So I let that cool overnight in the fridge, after letting it cool to room temperature first, then putting the kettle in the fridge. And this morning when I took it out, I skimmed off all the fat, which left my nice chicken broth here ready to go. I did heat it up again, and I added 2 teaspoons of chicken bouillon, the powdered chicken bouillon, not the cubes, to it. Plus 1/8 of a teaspoon of rosemary, sage, and thyme. Each one of those is 1/8, and 1/2 teaspoon of pepper into this right here. So that's going to make my broth to go with my soup today. Towards the end, there will be some evaporated milk added in to get the creamy part. But first of all, today I'm going to have to do the usual. Cook up the onions. I have 4 tablespoons of butter, of unsalted butter in the pot here. And I have a 1/4 cup of flour, which will go in when the time comes. But first off, I have to work on sauteing the onions, and then we'll go from there. So, Lord Dussault signing off for a little bit, and I'm going to get the pot going, get the onions in, and starting them sauteed so we can continue on. Lord Dussault Sr. checking out. Okay, things are moving along pretty quick here. The onions are just about done. So, and I've been at it about 9 or 10 minutes, taking my time stirring it. And next phase of this here is going to be putting in the flour to make the roux to thicken. And we're using, like I mentioned, should have mentioned, there was 1/4 cup of flour going in here to go along with the 4 teaspoons of butter, unsalted butter that went in with the onions. Okay, I'm going to start mixing in this flour. cooking it up. Cook it in here. I don't want to burn it, but I do want to cook it because it's what need be. Just keep moving it around. Burns a tiny bit, that'll be fine. It has to be cooked. It's kind of funny right now. A few seconds here, we're putting some liquid. Yep. Taking a chance that that's pretty much cooked. Now I'm going to start adding some liquid to this mess. Oh dear. And hopefully getting all the flour to blend in. Make the roux. Time to shift over to Mr. Whisk here. No clumpies if I can help it. Alright, definitely going to be putting more in. Now, I might have to add more liquid to this. And I'm hoping I've got the right formulation here, that we get the right thickness and the right amount of liquid. If we do, we're good to go. Alright, I'll bring up the heat. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera off for just a little bit. I'm going to keep working this and I'll work the rest of that liquid in there. Alright, just at the point where we're going to start adding some of the goodies to this. Now that's not super thick, but that's kind of what I want. I can always, towards the end, if I want to thicken it up, I can make a little bit of cornstarch and water, but we're moving right along with it set up like this. So, oh, since I did mention it, that's the chicken, pretty well diced up small. It's truly a strong 2 cups of chicken in there. So I'm going to start rolling in the goodies here. I'll bring the heat up. Start with the celery. And while I'm in the celery mood, I saw a thing on YouTube on how to keep celery in the refrigerator, and by golly, it really works. You wrap the celery in aluminum foil, roll it up in foil tightly, then flip the ends over, put it in the fridge. It's awesome. I used to buy celery and I hated to buy it because it would end up wasting a lot of it, because I'd go back in the fridge and it looked kind of like, well, kind of limp. But wrapping it up in the foil, I swear, I think you could get a month or more out of celery if you take, you know, what you want off of it and wrap it back up nice and tight again and put it back in the fridge. It's really, really works great. All right, now that gravy is actually thickening up as it's coming to a boil. It's getting a little thicker. So I will start adding some other ingredients here. There's our healthy cup of broccoli. And the corn, which is frozen, by the way, in case I forgot to mention that. Oh dear, come on guys, everybody out. that thickened up a little bit more from where I showed how it was, so that's fine. That's actually what I'm looking for. Okay, I'll put in the carrots. They're going to fight with me too, I guess. Well, there, everybody out of the pool. Or into the pool. All right. Now, I'm going to add the chicken, and that is one whopping load of chicken. But if you say it's got something with chicken in it, I guess you'd rather find out, oh yeah, that's pretty good. There's a lot of chicken in there. Okay. This is going to have to simmer. It's 10:14. This is going the rest of the morning most likely, and I'll check back in as it goes along. So all the ingredients pretty much are in there, except maybe a little bit more salt and pepper towards the end, and the evaporated milk, which I'm going to save for later on. So Lloyd Dussault Sr. checking out and hoping his soup turns out good. All right. Chicken soup, or almost chicken stew, has come to a boil. That's about the consistency of the liquid right now, and that's fine. What I'm going to do is move that to my back burner and let it simmer. So it's about 10:31. I'm going to let that simmer for at least an hour or so on very low heat. So Lloyd Dussault Sr. checking out and letting the stove do its thing. Well, chicken soup, stew, or whatever you'd like to call it, it's coming along just fine. It's on a low simmer at the moment. I'll be putting in the evaporated milk very shortly and let it simmer the rest of the way. Let's see, probably till about 11:30 or so. And I will making some drop biscuits. At least that's what my hopes are, to add to put on top of the soup. Got a quick recipe. I'm not going to show you how to do the whole thing, but I will read off the ingredients. It's a cup of all-purpose flour, teaspoon of parsley flakes, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of oil or grease, which I'm going to use bacon fat myself. That's what I'm trying. The lady that wrote the recipe down was using chicken fat. Well, I don't have chicken fat. And half a cup of milk. Okay, stir in all the dry ingredients. So all my dry ingredients that it calls for have all been stirred in and mixed and blended and ready to go when the time comes here. It says to add the oil, in this case add the grease and the milk, stir it up. Take a tablespoon when it's ready to go and scoop it, put it in, cook it for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, flip them over, gently flip them over, cook them for another 2 to 3 minutes, and that's supposed to do the trick. So I guess we'll find out when the time comes. So I'm going to be adding the milk. My daughter just dropped by and I showed her the soup. She said, well, that don't look very creamy. I said, I know. I said, I haven't put the evaporated milk in it, so we're going to get to that. Oh, let me shake that just a bit first. And that'll be coming back up to the temperature so I can make the dumplings, I hope. At least that's my plan. All right, we'll call that a day. Oh, boy. All right, in it goes. If I have to add or any more, I'll mention it. Oh, yes, that looks beautiful now. A little evaporated milk goes a long way to make things looking good. Okay, Lloyd Dussault Sr. At 11:02, we put the evaporated milk in and then let that go for about a half an hour or so before I try doing up some dumplings, and I'll see if I have any luck doing that. So Lloyd Dussault Sr. checking out for a little while. Well, it's that moment of reckoning. Time to find out if this recipe's going to work or not. have my fat here that I'm going to toss in. Alright. And it's starting to soften up a little bit. And it says, according to the recipe, just toss the milk right in and go to town and try to blend it all together. Well, I'll see here. It's a little scary to me, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. Don't work, don't work. Bringing all the flour in and trying to blend it. And with the biscuit stuff. And hopefully all the fat gets mixed in and everybody's happy. Alright. I think it's about that time. I don't think I can get too much more mix in here. So what I'm going to do is try to sort of kind of get some dumplings out of this. Alright, move this all up. Oh, yeah. Take the cover off. See if I can't find something that'll be about the right size to put in there. There's one. Try not to topple them on top of each other if I can help it. Here's a monster. Hey, get out. There you. Alright. It'll be a close call here. But I think we're going to make it. One way or the other we're going to make it. Whoop. I have no idea what's going to happen. I've never made these before. If they work out great, that'll be great. If you don't, well, won't make them again. Come on, get in there. Nice big fat one here. Okay, it says put them on. Put the cover on. Put it back on heat here for 10 minutes. So I shall keep an eye on it for 10 minutes, and after 10 minutes, it's supposed to be able to flip them over for another 2 to 3 minutes, and they're supposed to be done. So Lord do so. Senior checking out. Well, not everything works out quite as you plan it, so I'm not exactly excited about these biscuits, but I'm going to take them out and set them off to the side and we'll try some, but it didn't seem to do exactly what I wanted, and possibly because my stew or my soup was not quite hot enough to kick them off, but anyways, I left them in quite a bit longer. We will at least taste one. But the most important part is the stew, not the biscuits. And that's what we're going to have here today. All right. Looks good to me. We'll know in a few minutes. And like I said, we will try the biscuits. So I'm going to turn this off for a minute. Waiting for my guests to arrive. Well, it's about time. Guest of honors arrived. The stew came out quite nice. The dumplings, not so much. I think it's going to be back to the drawing boards on the dumplings, but we weren't going to have dumplings in the first place, so I guess nothing ventured, nothing gained. So I don't want to tip that over, but that's what she looks like. You'll see it as I pour it in. So, and we will let you know if I can find a dumpling that's not completely demolished. I might throw it on mine. Okay, well, I do South Senior checking out. We'll check back in after we've had lunch. Okay, well, the verdict is in. The chicken soup, Grayling chicken soup, came out real good. We have some left, and that's a good thing because I'll be eating it for the next couple of days. The dumplings, not so much, but they were an afterthought, and they didn't work out as I planned. But we'll keep working on that. The main course was perfect, so that's what we were after today. The dumplings would have been a little icing on the cake, but instead of having ice on the cake, we just had a little bit of ice cream for dessert. So I would actually recommend this. I think, to me, it's good. You can call it a soup, you can call it chicken stew, you call it whatever you want, but you certainly can call it tasting real good, and plenty of veggies in it too. So Lloyd Dussel Sr. closing out the Wednesday Blue Plate specials. Hope everybody's fine.